Welcome to our channel, Hashmi Clinics.
All right, today we're putting a really crucial but, often overlooked remedy under the microscope, Anthemis Nobilis, or Roman Chamomile. It gets confused all the time with its more famous relative Matricula, and that leads to a lot of misprescriptions. So our goal here is to build a sharp, clinically actionable profile that you can take straight into your practice. Let's start with the symptom that really unlocks this whole remedy, this strange and peculiar sensation that Burnett documented. Now, this isn't just about feeling cold. We're talking about a profound internal coldness centered deep inside the abdomen. This is a true grade 1 keynote, a real guiding symptom that's going to anchor our entire understanding of the Anthemis patient.
So, here's how we're going to build our profile. First, we'll get a handle on the core essence. Then, we'll lay out the full symptom picture in detail. After that, we'll dig into the crucial triggers and modalities. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a practical desktop guide for you to use in your clinic.
Okay, first up, let's get right to the heart of Anthemis. What is its fundamental nature? And let's go ahead and tackle the biggest point of confusion head-on, its relationship with German chamomile. Because, getting this distinction right is absolutely critical if you're going to have a successful prescription.
So to be super precise, we're talking about Anthemis Nobilis, the Roman chamomile. This is the one you'll often find in herbal teas, and that's actually an important clue to one of its causative factors we'll get to in a bit. The mother tincture is made from the fresh plant, which gives us a remedy with a really powerful, vital action.
Now, this right here is probably the single most important distinction you need to make in your clinic. Please do not confuse Anthemis with Matricaria chamomile. Think of them as almost opposites in temperament. Matricaria is all about heat and fiery anger, right? But Anthemis is defined by this pervasive coldness. And you have to pay close attention to this strange and peculiar modality. Its respiratory symptoms actually get worse indoors. That's the exact opposite of what you'd expect with a typical cold.
So if we boil it all down to its absolute essence, here's what you get. The central theme of Anthemis is this combination of gastric and liver problems with a profound, penetrating internal cold. If you have a patient who comes in with digestive complaints, but their thermal state is chilly and they feel cold on the inside, Anthemis has got to be on your list. That unique thermal signature is the key.
All right, let's zoom in now and get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to trace this remedy's action system by system and just build a complete portrait of the Anthemis patient from head to toe.
Starting at the top with the head, the symptom picture is intense and very specific. We see this violent vertical headache. The patient will describe it as an intense pressure from the inside out, a sensation so severe they feel like the top of their skull is about to be blown off. This isn't just some vague ache. It's a defining, almost explosive symptom.
And this just brilliantly illustrates its affinity for the mucous membranes. The coryza is profuse, it's watery, with a lot of tearing and sneezing, and it's accompanied by this little tickling cough. But you have to remember that strange modality we just talked about, these symptoms actually get worse inside a warm room.
And now we are right back to the abdomen, the very center of this remedy's action. We see that core keynote popping up again, griping, colicky pains that are accompanied by that unmistakable internal chilliness, which can even radiate down into the legs. And this is often paired with a dull, persistent ache over the liver, which just confirms its hepatic focus.
Okay, this is a big one. This is a grade 1 keynote. A truly peculiar and guiding symptom. The stools are white and putty-like, almost like clay. Now that's a huge clue right there of biliary obstruction or hepatic dysfunction. The bile is just not flowing. It's often found with another keynote, an intense, maddening itch of the anus, which immediately makes you think of ascaritis or worms.
This whole theme of coldness even permeates the skin. Notice the peculiar itching on the soles of the feet, with the sensation as if they were frostbitten or had chilblains. And this is coupled with a general tendency to just have goose flesh, constantly reinforcing that court chilly state of the Anthemis patient.
And finally, the remedy's action extends to the genitourinary system. In the bladder, there's this sensation of being uncomfortably full or distended, which leads to frequent urination. And in males, we find a very particular symptom, pain along the spermatic cord, with a sensation of fullness, almost as if it were varicosed.
So now that we have the symptom picture nice and clear, we turn to the crucial modalities. And, in a case like this, where there are overlapping symptoms with other remedies, the modalities are so often the key that unlocks the whole prescription.
And this is where case taking becomes a real art. The modalities for Anthemis are just fascinatingly contradictory. I mean, on the one hand, the patient is generally chilly and very sensitive to cold air. But on the other hand, their respiratory symptoms are dramatically worse indoors and in a warm room. And then look at this last one. Despite being a chilly remedy, even the slightest bit of exertion brings on heat and sweat. These contradictory modalities, they are pure gold for prescribing.
So, how do we bring all of this together in the clinic? Let's translate this detailed portrait into a practical guide for your desk, focusing on how to prescribe Anthemis with confidence, and, most importantly, how to tell it apart from its closest mimics.
This comparison is just vital. So while Anthemis shares that anal itching with Sina, the mental state is completely different. Anthemis just doesn't have the extreme irritability and anger of a Sina child. Its relationship with China is also critical. Herring notes that China is the antidote for uterine hemorrhage that comes from the abuse of chamomile tea. Let's wrap this all up with some practical prescribing pearls. Just remember the key indications: coryza, colic, and dyspepsia, all with that characteristic coldness. Historically, the 3-plex potency has proven to be quite effective. The memory aid is simple, but it's really powerful. Just think cold, indoor chamomile. That instantly separates it from a trichura in your mind. And finally, a really crucial clinical tip. If you ever see a case of uterine hemorrhage after the overuse of chamomile tea, you need to think of China as your primary antidote. So I'll just leave you with this one final crucial question. How many cases of coryza or colic that get worse indoors have we all missed by just defaulting to the more common chamomile? By keeping this precise, detailed picture of Anthemis Nobilis, the cold indoor chamomile, clear in our minds, we can unlock its curative power and apply it with the precision that our patients really deserve.
Professor Dr. Rifat Hashmi is a distinguished homeopathic physician, educator, and researcher with over 4 decades of clinical and teaching experience. He is widely respected for his deep command of Materia Medica, repertory, and constitutional prescribing, combined with a practical, patient-centered approach. Dr. Hashmi has dedicated his career to training generations of homeopathic doctors, blending classical principles with modern clinical insight. He is also known for his innovative work in digital homeopathy, developing educational content, clinical tools, and AI-assisted systems to enhance remedy selection and case analysis. With a strong commitment to ethical practice and lifelong learning, Professor Dr. Rifat Hashmi continues to guide, inspire, and elevate the standards of homeopathic education and patient care.